Hello, how are you? Hey, I got something to say. Okay, I know I love all my guests, but it's so exciting when I get to have one of my friends on, one of my peeps on, somebody I just love to death. Now, we've been talking about it for a while. Maybe you're sick of hearing about it, but you know how much I love my friends, HPS 15, Heroic Public Speaking, the group I graduated with. I just love them, love them, love them. They're so supportive. They're so amazing. I mean, I just can't say enough about them. And we talked about going live. What could happen? Guess what just happened right now? All right. My computer said, hey, we're going to shut down right now because we want to do this new thing. Hey, Patty, guess what? You ready
What?
for this?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm sitting here and I got your bio sitting here and my computer goes, hey, we're just going to shut down and restart to put in this new information because you've been ignoring us. So anywho, I was telling them how I do kind of have a friend crush on you. I do.
Likewise.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm partial about the HPS 15 group, but don't we have the best people, Patty, don't we?
We do. We're so fortunate. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What
So
a,
for
what a blessing that we were able to all get together there, huh?
I know I got to do some speaking engagements and we want to, spread the word to make money, but I always say if nothing else happens, I met the best people. My husband goes, wait a minute. I go, don't worry. Don't worry. But for anybody who hasn't listened to me drone on, Patty and I graduated from Heroic Public Speaking, and the group we were in was Group 15, right? And did we just graduate in June? I forget, or May? Was it May?
March, end of March.
Okay, but we just got our Done For You video. We went in July.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you were
Anywho,
all
right, you look gorgeous, by the way. You look gorgeous. You make me want to put glasses on. All right, stop. Everybody stop. I'm getting all these emails from our friends. Let me just tell you about Pati Froyo before we go on. She's a speaker, an executive coach, and intercultural leadership consultant. Her mission is to help leaders create strategic breakthroughs in their careers and businesses. And she partners with executives in high demand careers seeking to transform themselves and their organizations. Patty is a passionate advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and she is honored, I did not know this, to serve as chair for the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusivity, I hope I said that right, at the Washington National Opera Board of Trustees. That's a whole nother story. Patty is an International Coaching Federation certified coach, a Designing Your Life certified coach. Why did I not know this about you? And a Transformational Thought certified coach. Patty's in the house.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandy. I want to say something. I've been really looking forward to say this. It's a joy, pun intended, to be here with you. Really, truly.
Oh, I know. I had to meditate. I'm going to say a shout out to Stacy Fritz. I wish I had her new ball, but I was meditating to calm myself down because I was so excited you were coming on. I miss you. All right. So I want to talk about this message because I was trying to guess exactly what it meant, but I got to hear it from you. When facing obstacles, harnessing our mindset gives us our power back, focuses our intention, and our roadmap for success. I don't want to put words in your mouth. So what do you mean by that, Miss Patty?
So let me just backtrack a tiny bit to
Go
tell
for
you
it. Take your time.
how that came about. So, I had been long fascinated about how some people just seem to naturally overcome obstacles and flourish, while some other of us, it's a little bit more like a constant battle. And, most of the time we feel stuck, and, not feeling very rewarding. So I really got into finding out what is it that what's the secret sauce that makes some of us really be able to overcome and others do not. And what I started with was, okay, so let's start with some hypotheses, right?
Right?
So let's say that we actually do have more control over our career fulfillment. Let's start with that.
Okay.
And that we actually have everything available to us to make it happen. And I started studying and testing and experimenting and all of this experience that I have with executive coaching, and I landed on that. It is our mindset that's either an enabler or a derailer in our career. Now, I'm not saying that we're not facing a lot of real issues in our workplace.
Yeah, I get it.
But with all of that, it really comes down to what's our mindset as we approach these issues. That's what I mean with that.
Okay. And you know me, I'm all about that, and I'm truly on board. But one of the biggest questions I got when I reached out to my people and said what you were coming on about is they said, I'm going to give you what this one young lady says. Ask Miss Froyo what to do when you're a very emotional person. Exclamation mark 5 times. I know she's right, but when the boss says things to me at work that triggers me, I either explode or cry.
That's very common. I will be the first one to admit that I am a very emotional person. And maybe, what do you think if I share a story about something that happened to me that can, Do you think that's a good idea?
I was hoping you would. Woohoo! Yes, please.
So, sometimes I'm going to tell you a story from back in the dark ages at work. How sometimes you may have bosses that just get under your skin, and it's just the only thing you can see is like, they're against me, they don't like me.
Well, they're saying that's it. They're just saying.
Yep. And so I had one of those experiences, but it stayed with me because this particular boss that I felt was always against me eventually became the best boss I ever had and the one that supported me the most. And the way that journey changed for me was really with one question. So let me give a little bit of the background. Why did I feel that he was against me? Because I felt he was picking on me all the time.
Was he?
To some extent, I think yes, but I think I was so focused on the fact that I really believed he was picking on me, I probably was amplifying it. You know how sometimes you have like these little thoughts in your mind that then become like a video, and they become then a Technicolor movie, and then they become an IMAX movie because we are like embellishing them. So
all the time.
So I think to some extent that was what's happening. So, one day I was so fed up, and to respond to the question, I would blush. I would like literally leave the conference room. I would have some level of emotion that was visible. So one day I just said, Patty, what if you're not going to allow yourself to be vulnerable in these situations? And that question kind of, I really think it was like an interrupt switch that said, of course, you have so many options. So, each time I was feeling like I was being baited in that, power struggle, I kept on thinking, he must have some virtue. He must have something that is actually good about him. And I started to pay attention, about other things, about, what's the benefit in what he's telling me, what are the alternatives I have available. And little by little, I just started feeling much more confident and comfortable dealing with him. And to make a long story short, in a few months, literally, I am not kidding you. Literally, it was like flipping a switch. And he started actually supporting me. And eventually, a very important promotion that I got was all because he sponsored me for it. So, when we are emotional in situations, I think that being present, really kind of grounding ourselves and being present and trying to be mindful and going back to breath and starting to be curious about things that are happening in that situation, that usually resolves it for us.
So Patty, how long did that go on? How long was the period of time when you just thought, he has it in for me?
Oh, I would say it was about a good 6 months, but something that I did not share that I think it's important here. Before I started working for him, somebody told me that he was a horrible boss.
Okay.
And I think,
Yep.
now convinced, that kind of was a kind of a preconceived notion that I had of him.
Yeah.
And then I was looking for signs to confirm that, it's like, oh, like he's looking at me that way. And, so I think that we have to be careful with those types of things as well.
I agree. Because I was just having a discussion with one of my clients, and he said, and I told him I was going to ask you. He was giving a review to one of his team members, and she was going to be moving up to working with another boss. And he heard he was a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, should I warn her, or, because I told him about your story, or let her find out for herself? Because in the past, it's bitten him in the butt because somebody said, why didn't you tell me? So it's tricky.
It is tricky. It is tricky. And the other thing also that I feel, and I would be very interested to know what's your opinion on this. Sometimes we are faced with people and situations that are just reflecting back at us things that we have to work ourselves.
Yep.
Or that they're reflecting back at us things that we should consider. So I say this a lot, and that is that I actually appreciate having contrarians in my team, and I would always make a point to hear all of the different opinions, because particularly contrarians are pointing at things that we may consciously or unconsciously not be paying attention at, And then working for people that are so different than us and that may have behavioral traits that we don't appreciate actually is a learning opportunity for us to be able to find out how do we work with or around that.
Patty, I could unpack so many of those different pearls of wisdom in a whole nother podcast. But let me just start by saying this, because so happy you were speaking about this. I haven't talked about this in so long. Number one, with my team, there were always people that I call it, they didn't have the best delivery, right? The message was good. They had great ideas, but they may not have the best delivery. So I would tell my members of my team, okay, when you say don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, like sometimes, yes, the delivery might be a little harsh from our clients, but they might have things in there that we could grow from and learn from. So that's number one.
Correct.
Number two, I'm not saying there are jerks. Okay, let's just get it out. There are people, I call them poopy heads. They're jerks in the world. They're just mean-spirited people. They've had a rough life. Throw them love. I don't want to be around them. I don't want to work with them. So they are out there. But that being said, so many times people would say to me, this person's a jerk. This person's this. This person's this. And I'd say, what are you talking about? They're not that way with me. You know, they were understanding. They were kind. They were compassionate. They were some of my favorite mentors. And they said, well, then they're treating you differently. And I thought, okay. And I could never figure out why, Patty. Why so many people that other people said were not nice people. And I go, and I'm, like I said, there were a few, you know, that were, you know, they just should go to another life. But they would say this to me, and I'm like, what is it about me? Am I not seeing it? Am I naive? I mean, what do you think it was? I would always just say, so maybe it was me coming in with confidence. I don't know, but I really felt like most people had my back.
Yeah. You know how they say that perception is reality?
Yeah.
And each one of us, you know, we may be seeing the same thing and we may think we're exactly, you know, interpreting it the same way, but we're not. And it all has to do with cognitive biases. And I'm pointing at my brain because, you know, that's where that's where they come from. But what happens is, you know how our entire experience and how we're raised and what we experience in school, in life, that kind of starts forming a lens by which we interpret our daily life. And what happens is my lens is different than yours. Your friends that were telling you, you know, one thing about this person and you felt differently. Everybody has a different filter. And what happens is that maybe we don't recognize it because actually it's neither good nor bad, right? The brain does it because that's how we're wired. This is proven in neurological studies. And also because, do you know how many sensory inputs go to the brain from inside outside? It's like 40 million unconscious, right? And if
40 million?
Yes, and if we couldn't function if that wasn't narrowed down. And what happens is our brain starts making shortcuts. So what happens in these situations is everything I learned is giving me this view, and I start getting triggered maybe, right? By something my mom said, by something that my uncle always used to say because of what the kids at school used to make fun of me, whatever, right? So that's kind of part of our programming. And then when we face some of the people we don't like, it's basically raising those triggers. So one of the things that well, this is a lot of practice I have learned to do is when I say to myself, why does this always happen to me? That's like, okay. That's my first sign that I am encountering some sort of mindset filter, right? And that now it's my time to start exploring, why is this? Why do I feel this way?
Hmm. You
So
know, you got to be really self-aware. I mean, that's a big question.
it is a big question, and you have to do it all the time. And this is why it's important, Sandy, for us to learn what trigger us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for some of us, it's going to be something physical. For some of us, it's going to be like the inner discussion about,
Yeah.
who do you think you are? You're not good enough, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of different things. But each one of us has a preference. So we need to learn, what is it what's the pattern that's always coming back to us? And that's when we need to say, maybe I need to start,
Yeah.
asking more questions about this. So it
Yeah.
does. I mean, it's
I love
continuously,
that
because that's how
because
we're.
it brings the power back to you. It brings the power back to you. So is that what you're talking about when you say we talk about how the right questions are key to overcoming the obstacles preventing us from exploring and
Yes,
challenging our mindset?
yes, that's exactly right. Because what happens is, when we're triggered, we react, and then we go into that part of our brain that's just the fight and flight,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not really thinking. And we need to kind of bring ourselves back to what's called the prefrontal cortex, so we can start thinking more elevated thoughts that actually can, where we have a choice. Instead of reacting, we want to put ourselves in a point of choice. And that's what the right questions, as I call them, in coaching, they're called powerful questions. That's what they do for us. They put us in a point of choice when we can then make a decision, and hopefully that decision is one that's positive and that serves us better.
So throughout your career, what was what you talked about with your boss? What they want to know, what was one of the most challenging situations that you've had to face and overcome?
Well, since I am very, very old, I am older than I look probably. When I started working, I was the lonely female in a very male dominated industry. And I also have an accent.
Gorgeous, gorgeous accent,
Thank
jealous
you.
on
Thank
so
you.
many levels.
But I think that being the only one, of anything, being different and the only one of anything, is challenging.
Yeah, yeah, good
Um,
point.
so early on in my career, I think that was a challenge. But later on in my career, I think the biggest challenge that also brought me the most joy actually was developing people.
Oh,
Developing people, so they challenge, because you need to like find the right path without influencing people. They need to do what they want to do, but your job to develop them is to give them all of the tools they need so that they're successful. So you set them up for success without choosing for them, right?
ooh,
um,
ooh,
and that
that's
was
tough.
for me, truly, that brought me so much joy. And this is why I became an executive coach, because it's like the funnest, most wonderful thing for me that I can do. Seriously.
I believe you. I believe you. Because you just embody, I want to help in any way I can to get you where you want to go, not where I want you to go. Like you said, I give them the tools. It's all about them. I'm here to help where they choose to go in
Right,
life,
right,
which is
right,
incredible.
right.
So would you say that's your highlight then of your career? Like right now, just really being able to develop
I,
people?
I would. I would. I think that was, uh, in my corporate career, I would say people that work for me will probably say that was my legacy.
Oh,
And I would like, I would like that to be kind of the hallmark of what I do as a coach, is to help people succeed. That
well,
would
can I
be.
say one of my highlights? I loved watching you blossom on stage.
Oh, thank you. At the beginning, it was, a little bit scary, but once you say, what do we have to lose? We just have to try it, right? And
Yes.
then that's it. You just trying is the first step, and that gets you there.
And then at the end, oh my God, not only did you have swag and get your message across, but you so bright, but you're funny, man. So that combination is going to be dynamite,
But let me just send a shout out to you. You were inspirational. You were really awesome. Awesome.
Thank you.
I had tears in my eyes.
Well, thank you. All right, so I can't believe it, but of course I should believe it. We're running out of time, but I do want to know, what is your AHA blueprint? You mentioned AHA blueprint.
Yeah, my AHA blueprint is what I developed after all of my research and work, so that we learn how to shift our mindset. And it kind of, it's a little bit cheeky in the sense that, with the AHA blueprint, you create AHA moments, but, that's what it is. The A is to become aware that we are trapped in a mindset trap. The H is to hack that kind of belief or mindset that's not serving us well, and reframing it to one that's going to serve us better. And the A is to act in a positive way that can be the best solution for everyone involved. That, I truly do believe, Sandy, that if this is going to be a better world, we actually need to act in a way that generates win-win for all of the people that are involved in a situation. So that is my AHA blueprint.
I was like, is it AHA or is it AHA? So thank you for sharing.
It's AHA.
Yeah.
For AHA moment.
So, Patty, we're not going to get to all the questions, and that's okay. They can reach out to you. But my question for you is, you said you work with clients and you work with corporations. They want to know, is it just like only like an executive coach, so you're only working with teams, or do you take on individuals?
No, I take a lot of individuals, and I am very passionate to work with women in STEM and minority executives that feel that they are undervalued, stuck, invisible, excluded. That is actually my focus area. So I take a lot of individuals, yes. Particularly those that kind of don't want their companies to know that they're being coached, because sometimes, there is a stigma against coaching in some, corporations.
No, I get that. I have people that say, don't tell anybody I'm coaching. I didn't know why, but oh well. Okay, now before we go, you have to tell them about some of your hobbies.
Fly fishing. I actually went fly fishing for salmon, and I was sore for 3 days.
Why were you sore? Tell me about it. Why are you sore? Is it that active?
Well, the salmon are like 20-pound fish, and just think about how much energy they have.
Yeah.
So you're there, holding for dear life, literally, until you catch them. But it's just, I enjoy that very much. And then, of course, opera. I'm a total fanatic. I love the art form.
Okay, so yeah, so I was noticing that. Now, do you sing opera or you just love opera?
I just love. I sing very badly.
Thanks for your honesty, but you
I just
love it.
love it.
I've never been. I've never been to the
Okay,
opera.
we have to go. We have to make a way for us to go.
All right, well, baby steps. Give me one that's really fun.
I have a few.
All right, Patty, thank you so much. I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited that we could be here together. But before we go, how can they find you? How can they reach you? Tell us more.
I love making connections with people in LinkedIn.
Okay.
So yeah, so just find me in LinkedIn, and I'll be very happy to connect.
You have to push me to do more of that stuff. I do it and then I forget. I do it and then I forget. But I know you meet so many amazing people and you get to connect with people from around the world.
That's right. And all different people that just bring more and more joy to us. I had to wait. I had to end with that also.
You're holding that on. Oh, Patti Froyo, thank you so much.
Thank
My
you.
peeps, don't go yet. We have to sign off with, hey, I got something to say, people. You know what I mean when I say she's awesome, right? She's incredible. I know you're going to love her like I love her. So don't worry. If you didn't see the show from the beginning and you want to share it, I am going to record it when we're done. And then I will put it on all the platforms. And Patty and I would really appreciate you sharing it, liking it, and rating it with as many people that you feel we can inspire. And until next time, toodles. Bye, Patty.
Bye.